New Year is here, my friends, and I feel ready for it. I've taken some decent amount of time hermiting, only leaving the cottage for ski tours, Christmas Day, and celebrating my birthday. I always feel quite a bit of anxiety and pressure with the new year arriving, but this time around I made an effort to minimize the stress of making 2024 a successful year. If there's one thing I learned from last year is that success comes from feeling proud. So here I am, rested and ready for a new year of making myself proud, and hopefully sprinkle a little bit of this type of energy over here in this video. So all this time spent outside on my skis gave me a lot of time to think about how I have been spending the past year. So personally, for me, I always feel like time is slipping away so fast, and I find it important to know what I want to spend my time on. But while skiing, I kept wondering about how we actually decide what we really want to spend our time on. Why do we choose to do one thing and not another? And how can we ensure that the time we have in a day is spent on the things we want to do, instead of being taken up by the activities that we don't care that much about? For some, these questions can feel quite heavy, especially at the start of a new year, but I think that when you approach them in a practical and curious way, they're actually easier to answer than we might think. As long as we don't overcomplicate it, we can easily map out how we want to spend our time and what goals we want to focus on that our future self will thank us for. So in this video, I would like to share with you how I make sure I spend my time wisely this upcoming year, what helps me to keep momentum, and how I maintain motivation for the goals that really matter to me and on which I actually want to spend my time. What I have found over the years is that if I set too many goals, it is way too hard to keep focus and motivation or create momentum. Narrowing down on the most important things you want to spend your time on is key. So let's keep it simple, shall we? The way to do this for me is connecting my goals to my future self. What do I want her to have learned, to be good at, and most importantly, be proud of? We all want the best for our future selves, right? I think why this works so well is because it makes it very clear to you what the importance is of all of your efforts. Remember back in high school when you had to learn all of these languages and had to solve all of these equations, but you did not understand why you had to learn all these skills in the first place? Well, back then it was not clear to you how your future self could benefit from all those skills. So then, let the things you want to achieve for your future self lead you the way right now. When skiing for long stretches at a time, I was able to take a bird's eye view of my year because I was not able to focus on any details. That part of my brain was taken by the skiing itself, since I had to stay on my feet. This really helped my brain to pick out the things from last year that have made me proud and that I wanted to cultivate even more in the new year. Once home, I wrote down the 4 most important things, or you could say categories, that I want to devote my time to with future years in mind. For each category, I write down one main goal I would like to pursue, but I write out a list of individual activities that fall under this. By breaking it up in chunks like this, it's easier and more practical to get actionable right away. To be able to write down specific activities, I asked myself how many times I wanted to do something per month or per 3 months. Like, how many times do I want to see live music this month? Or how often do I want to try a new recipe? When writing all of these activities down, you can feel like you might not have the time for them. But in my experience, when I am well rested and working on something I am genuinely excited about, finding the time is actually rarely a problem. I picked 4 categories as a maximum because this means I will be able to spend 3 months of the year on one goal, which is in my view digestible. But I personally like to spread the time I work on my 4 goals mixed throughout my weeks. This is because I'm easily bored, but also because I have the time. I can imagine that when you only have a few hours a week to spare because, for example, you have a family to take care of, it will be more helpful to focus your time on one goal for 3 months straight, before you move on to the next. I then want to make sure that I actually spend my time within one or more of these categories every day. And what I found is that tracking my hours is actually key for accountability and motivation. We all love to measure and see our progress, not just because it makes us feel good to see what good of a job we did, but also because it gives us real insight into what we have been working towards. So what I do is I create a simple little booklet with my 4 categories in it, and at the end of the day I write down how many minutes or hours I spend that day on something that my future self will thank me for. Even if it's only 5 minutes, it's something. Also, at the start of each week, I write down some of the activities I would like to do that week that fit into one of the categories. This makes it easier for me to get actionable during the week when I don't have the headspace to come up with something I could do. And at the end of the week, I sum up all my minutes and do a little review on how well I've done and what I want to maybe improve upon for the next week. Then one thing that I do that I think is extremely important is to guard off self-judgment. This is without a doubt the number one thing I wrestle with every single day. I feel that we're often really good at pointing out all that's bad about ourselves or what we're making. And what happens then is that this judgment prevents us from seeing all that's good or seeing potential in the things we're doing. I also think we're often conditioned to self-judge and make things look or sound right in pursuit of what we think will please or impress others. To stay motivated in working towards our goals and making our future self proud, we need to make it a practice to create motivated energy and keep it running. Why am I spending my time on this activity and not on something else? Because it makes me feel healthy, makes me feel creative, makes me feel badass. Whatever it is, make sure to remind yourself of it and also that you're doing it for the fun of it. You don't have to do it, you want to do it. Think, this activity aligns with who I want to be. The artist, the athlete, the writer, the cook, you name it. So to sum it all up, when it comes to creating motivated energy for the new year, or just in general to stay dedicated and motivated, to dedicate your precious time to the things you want to be spending your time on, don't overcomplicate your goals. Always keep your future self at the core of why you're doing the things you're doing. Keep track of the actual hours you put in the work and stay connected to the positive emotion you want to tap into. I hope this has been helpful. Do let me know your thoughts on this process and let me know what other things work for you. I would love to hear them. Thanks for hanging out with me today and I'll see you very soon for the next video. Bye for now.